Hello guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the garage. So we've been focusing primarily on getting Caitlin back on the road. She does run, she does move, she is back to stock for the most part. We are missing a coolant pipe still. That has yet to come in, so we are not going to be working on her tonight. She is sitting pretty, she's looking good. Well, other than the passenger side still, but we might be getting that taken care of. So anyway, guys, since Caitlin kind of shit the bed on us, Veronica here, my 2001 5.2 5-speed 4-wheel drive truck that I've had since I think 2005. I've had this truck for 15 years. She is, if you guys look, a classic. So we have classic tags on her, but she has been doing the daily driver duties and she's been performing fine. We've had a couple of brake lines that we've had to replace. Well, one when we started driving her again after the Moby Dick incident, and then I had another one blow out the other day that I had to repair. Well, other than that, she's been doing good, other than the fact that her headers leak like a sieve. So as you guys can hear, the exhaust on this truck is, well, it's less of an exhaust and more of just a big exhaust leak. Let me shut her down so you can hear me. So her headers are rotted out, they're cracked, they've been on there for a long time. The full exhaust just needs a complete overhaul, but we don't really have the downtime for that, being that this is our daily driver until we get that coolant pipe get that coolant pipe for Caitlin. So the exhaust is going to have to stay, but that doesn't mean we can't give her a little love. She deserves it. So our first task of the night, we have to put our door panel back on and our handles and all that. So these trucks, this is an 01, I want to say in 98, they made it so this was a quad cab rather than a club cab, where this back section actually opens. Well, after sitting and time and all that, the mechanism actually jams up and you can't get this door open. I'll show you on the passenger side. So as you guys can see, doesn't want to open. That thing's all jammed up down below. So I'd like to have access to the doors again. And if you are have been a subscriber for quite a while, you remember, I think it was a couple winters ago, maybe at this point, we actually had Veronica in there and got this latch out, and that's kind of how she's sat ever since. We've been so busy with the race truck and all that kind of stuff, but it's time to fix that problem. So she's been sitting like this for quite a while. I've been driving the truck around without this rear door actually latching since Caitlin took a shit, and, well, let me put the window down. And as you can see, it's a little floppy. So the only thing really keeping these doors together is the latch in between them. And now that I see this, it has worn a bit of paint off up here, which that sucks. I probably should have known better, but we really didn't have a choice. So we're going to get to doing that tonight. Also, the other day, tailgate cable broke. I actually had another one because this one had broken previously, and they come as a pair. So I had this actually sitting in the truck, but we have to figure out how to get all this back together. So here is the latch mechanism that was all jammed up. As you guys can see, it's all rusty, and you pull on it, nothing happens. It's all screwed up. So I got a pair of those. They're right and left. Here's our new one. So there's this little plastic piece on here, if you guys can see, in the slot. The old one is actually pushed up already, so I guess you got to push that up for this thing to work. But needless to say, it operates and then would be able to open the door. So we got to get that in. We got to get our upper latch in, our door handle, get our door panel back on, all that kind of stuff. And then we have these clips for it. I got the clips and the latch mechanisms all off like eBay for, I don't know, around $100 bucks. So anyway, guys, something a little different, but it's time to show Veronica a little love. Let's get this door panel back on, then we'll jump over to the passenger side. Hopefully we can get it open. I don't even remember how I got this door open before, but if I remember right, I just pried and it was a pain. But let's get to it and get this thing back together. So guys, when I took this all apart, I never even thought about it. I made a huge mistake that would have saved the paint on our door here. Yeah, I put the top latch back in and then I moved the truck so it was in front of this garage light. So I shut the door, you know. Well, then I couldn't open the door. If I would have just left that latch in there, this thing would be nice and solid. Then you just reach your hand in and open her up. So if you have a bottom latch issue and you want to use your quad cab door and don't have all the parts at the time, leave the top latch in. You can use it to shut the door and keep everything snug. Yeah, that's a learning situation there. Well, there we go. We got a good working door again. Everything seems right. Yeah, nice and solid. So it was actually pretty simple once I tried to put the handle in the right way. There for a little while I was trying to put it the other way for some reason. But we are missing the one bottom bolt here. I'll probably take the one from the passenger side, put over here, because we're more apt to use the driver's side door. And also, as you can see, the door panel, I didn't even try and put it on because the cable that connects has this little plastic piece and it snaps in. Well, it's broke. As you can see, I tried to super glue it and pretty much just ended up with super glue all over my fingers. And yeah, so we'll have to wait to put that on, but feels good. I should have left this top latch in the whole time. The bottom one was the problem. And then also you got to get the latch in, and then you can go reach through here, and these two rods just snap in. I'll show you on the other one. They just snap in the little clips on the door handle mechanism itself. So this side's done. Like I said, I'll take that bolt from the other side and put it in here just so we know this works good, and I'll put the other stuff in the house and we'll try and get the other side open, which is probably going to be the bear of the whole thing. Well, after much aggravation, it is finally out. I mean, this thing is just rusted all to crap. To get it out, I took these vice grips that I made into a slide hammer a long time ago, put on there, put on the rod that goes up from the bottom one. I jammed it up till I got it kind of loose, and then I got in the truck, started kicking it because I couldn't get anywhere. And then finally I was getting it, and I was getting some movement out of it. I sprayed some Quarryville up in there, and finally got the thing open. I can't tell you what the best way to go about this. If yours is frozen up, just try a multitude of stuff. Keep spraying the thing up, and hopefully you'll get it. So that, we pulled the door panel off, which I can never pull one of these door panels off without leaving some plastic. Got some up here, some down here, but it is what it is. Then, to get this out, the first nut rounded off, or not rounded off, broke the stud. Not a problem. The next two, they just kept rounding off, so I kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller socket. Nothing would bite. Couldn't get it. So finally, I was going to use a cutoff wheel on a die grinder. Couldn't get in there with that. Luckily, I was able to get in there with my trusty Metabo and flapper adapter. So this is an adapter, so you can use like a die grinder type bit, which, as you guys can see, we have a nice burr bit on there, and I was able to get in there and grind all the nut down till it just had the washer, and then the thing finally dropped out. Also, when pulling this whole thing out, we also broke the cable for the passenger side for the inside door handle, but since it's out, we'll just wait. We'll get new cables. That being said, yeah, the door has seen better days. It is just terrible in there. This thing is shot. Yeah, just, man, look at that. Look at that. That's, wow. Yeah, the old girl has seen better days. I would certainly like to restore this truck at some point. Being my first truck, and a lot of memories with this thing, but until we get a shop or something built, she lives outside, so that's not going to happen. But we are going to start taking better care of her, start running her more, and just get all her miscellaneous issues straightened out. So we'll get this door straightened out. Like I told you guys before, here's our new one. It'll go up in. I found 3 more nuts in my miscellaneous metric stuff bucket. We'll put this up in there, attach our rod, and then you fold this little plastic clip over the rod. Pretty self-explanatory. And then as far as the handle goes, where's Mr. Handle? There he is. So the handle here just has these 2 quick connects, if you will. What it is you'll put the handle in, and then you got to reach up through this hole, or maybe you can reach through this hole. There's a little vent that goes there. I guess for when you shut the door to let the air out. But anyway, you take your threaded rod, as you guys can see, hopefully it's got threads on it, and you just snap that in there. But you have to have the handle in place so that way they're in the right location. So we'll get this thing bolted up, close the door, and then we got a couple more things to try and get done tonight. One of my favorite things to do with this truck has always been to beat it off the rev limiter, especially when I put the long tubes on it. It makes a noise that's cool. It's, shocks people, It's just awesome. So guys, we got a couple more jobs to do. If you would have noticed when I was just backing up, no reverse lights. So it could be something as simple as both bulbs are blown. It could be something else. We're actually going to start by looking over the wiring because we have had rodent issues here at the house in the past, as you guys would have saw on Moby Dick, where we lost the speed sensor and all that. So I'm going to look at the wiring underneath real quick. If that proves out and looks good, we'll pull one of the brake lights out and test for voltage. You know, I can, this thing being a manual, I can put it in reverse and just have the key on and the lights should show or shine. And then the other last thing is the tailgate cable. Not that that's a big deal, but yeah, so we'll get that all sorted out and should be good to go. Well, at least better to go. Well, we got our tailgate cable fixed. I looked into the reverse light situation, looked at all the wiring underneath. I couldn't really find anything obvious wrong. So I, pulled the brake light out, checked the bulb, put it in the brake socket, and hit the flashers, and it worked. So the bulb was good. Then I checked the switch on the transmission. So the switch on the transmission, when you push in the little ball on it, like when you'd be in reverse, it has continuity, so the switch is good. I tried to see if there's voltage at that connector, but I don't know if it's supposed to have voltage. I checked the fuses. There is a fuse for every other light on the truck except for reverse lights. That's the only one that doesn't have its own fuse, so I'm not really sure. We're gonna have to do some more digging with the wiring underneath and all that. I'll have to look and see what I can find. Maybe there's a relay, maybe it comes off of something else, I don't know, but we'll look into it. If you guys know, drop a comment down below. But also we got, and this is the more important thing, both of our quad cab doors now function and close on their own, so that's nice. Now neither one of them has a door panel currently because the cables broke, but it's not a big deal. We'll get new cables, we'll get those back in, but both of our quad cab doors finally work. I am just so happy. Man, this truck, another thing I noticed underneath the bed, the rails for the bed, they're starting to rot out pretty good. So I know this thing looks pretty good from a few feet away, but as you guys can see, we definitely have some rot on the doors. Our fender, our quad cab doors, at least the one on the passenger side, starting to rot pretty bad. But that's kind of just the life of a second gen owner here in Pennsylvania with the road salt and all that. But this truck, I've had it for about 15 years. The only time it lived inside was when I originally bought this house, and her and Caitlin shared the garage for like a couple winters. But then we got the race truck, and that was the end of that. But yeah, I would really love to redo this truck. It's my first pickup. There's something about driving this thing. Once I get the exhaust all sorted out, I mean, the headers, they're just trash. They're just old. Get that all sorted out. She'll have some power back, because I did run this thing with no mufflers and long tube headers, and the lack of back pressure, just this thing had no bottom end. It was ungodly loud, but yeah, once you put them mufflers on there, got that bottom end back, she was fun. Never a powerhouse, but always a blast to drive. This thing, I remember one time we were coming back from the mountains, and I was getting it. I mean, running that thing out, the tack, I wouldn't shift till it hit about $5,000. I'm making all this noise. My buddy looked over. We're doing about 100 miles an hour. He says, all that and that's it? He said, well, that's what she does. But I love this truck. I want to get her back to her former glory. I've always loved this paint color too. I mean, that intense blue pearl coat, I mean, this thing was a looker. And even these wheels, I never put aftermarket wheels on this truck because I just like that style. These off-road 17-inch wheels, I mean, that was the big wheel back then. You couldn't get 18s or 20s on these trucks. But yeah, need to get her back to where she was. But for now, we'll get her back being our secondary vehicle. But we'll get her in a lot better shape than she currently is. She certainly deserves it, that's for sure. So guys, something a little different in the garage tonight. Not working on anything diesel related, but we are working on a second gen. A lot of the issues with these things, it doesn't matter whether it's gas or diesel, like the rot. It's common on all of them. But we need to get her back to where she is a very reliable secondary vehicle, but that way we can also take her out, have a good time. She has an NV 3500 5-speed. Any of you guys who know anything about them, I guess you'd call it the little brother of the NV45 and 5600, but it's more like the stepchild because it's just not that great a transmission. It doesn't shift that well, and even now, if you're downshifting in the second, you got to be careful, otherwise she's going to be making some noise. But she's got her own little quirks and all that, but we'll get her ironed out and get her back being a promising part of the fleet. Well, she is the fleet right now. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, subscribe down below. Catch you guys on the next one. Get out in your garage, get the wrenching on your truck.